Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast, a podcast dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. I hope everyone enjoyed their week. Depending on where you are, here I am in Ontario. We're preparing for a nice little 3-day weekend. But hopefully, depending where you are, you're getting a 3-day weekend or getting ready to enjoy your weekend. Some of you are enjoying your Saturday already, depending where you are in the world. But yes, before we continue on with the episode, like, subscribe, comment, follow on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and social media, Instagram, TikTok, and X as well. But yes, a few things to cover on today's episode. Tomorrow I will be doing an episode just for the game for Sunday. But today, a few things to discuss. One, the Sesko deal. Two, Saudi is back in for Bruno. Want to talk Rasmus Hojlund and the confidence. Transfer news involving Sancho, Antony, and Garnacho. What else is new? And Manchester United going in for a new keeper. Yes, the keeper discussion is still going there. So, yeah, a few things to discuss, but you know what? It's just that type of day. That was that type of Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Also, the first bid for Isak to Newcastle from Liverpool went in and was rejected. It was 120 million, not including the add-ons. 120 million pounds. Sorry, not including the add-ons. Yeah, that's what went in for the bid today, and it was rejected. So that's a little unique to say. And yes, there was a talk or a mention that Manchester United went in for the bid as well. So, but that was rejected too because Isak only wants Liverpool. So Newcastle United is going to try and get as much money as they can so they can start funding other players as well. But since Newcastle's in the mention, they've been in the mention with Sesko, let's get to my first segment of the episode. Okay. So yes, Sesko deal is apparently rumored to be off. There's chatter now of Sesko wanting to join Newcastle now. That's been reported earlier today. Actually, it's been reported in the last couple hours of Sesko wanting to join Newcastle. So, yeah, I know a lot of United fans have been losing it. But it's, yeah. Listen, this is what's been going on every week. Not every week. I should reiterate that. My apologies. Actually, this just came in 43 seconds ago. Sorry, my apologies. Something came in for Isak as well when I just saw it here. This from the Independent, but because Isak is also tied in with Newcastle, especially with Liverpool. But yes, Sesko. Sesko is looking at potentially joining Newcastle instead of being with Manchester United. That's the thing. And now there's talks where Manchester United are looking at alternatives of a new striker. This is from the last couple of hours. This is just according to the Manchester Evening News. Manchester United might have a tricky path to sign $45 million Benjamin Sesko transfer alternative. Sesko, as you know, we have potential to be bid here, but their Newcastle look like they're edging in, and looks like he may be wanting to join Newcastle. Newcastle throwing in, I think the rumor of the latest bid I saw was like 75 million pounds for him. I think that's the amount that I saw. I may have seen that on X. I can't confirm that because as of right now, I'm just seeing here the potential of him going. But going back to the article that I just saw, Sesko transfer alternative. Sesko, this is just a bit here. Sesko has emerged as a primary target for United this summer, and they look to add their center forward to the option this season, but United had held long-term interest to the 22-year-old, who rejected a switch to United in favor of RB's at Leipzig 3 years ago. It is now reported by the Manchester Evening News that United are now advancing with a potential move for the striker this summer. They do, however, face competition from Newcastle United, and amid speculation over the star Alexander Isak, who's linked up with the blockbuster move to Liverpool. And I'm just looking at the full article here. So, because I pulled it up here, but now they're advancing the moves. So Sesko, I'm just looking at the article here. According to The Sun, United are also battling Newcastle for a Stuttgart striker, Nick Woldermade, this summer. The forward had looked to be heading towards a move to Bayern, but their transfer of Liverpool forward Luis Diaz may have opened up the door to United and Newcastle. So the deal came out for Sesko. My apologies for that poor timing of the article and not getting the information out clear. But yes, they're looking at a striker. So just to sum up, United now are looking at a striker from Stuttgart. We'll see how it goes. 23-year-old scored 12 goals and provided 2 assists in 28 Bundesliga games last year. And he also was the top scorer in the under-21 European Championships this summer, scoring 6 goals during the tournament. So going back, yes, 45 million potential bid. So right now, so here is the price, 45 million euros to 52 million euros. So we're looking at between 39 and 45 million pounds for him. Considering the evaluation for Sesko is around, I think, 64 to 65 million. Listen, if we can get him at the low ball of 39 million pounds, that would be a lot of money saved, and that money could be used towards another target. But the question is, could he translate over to the Prem? He is 23. He is 1 year older. He did score 12 goals and provided 2 assists in 28 Bundesliga games, whereas I think Sesko was 13 and 6 but he's young, right? He is young, and right now we're looking at potential youth, but with the talks and rumors and the storyline, nothing has been confirmed or anything. I didn't see anything really from Fabrizio or David Ornstein. If something did come out from Romano, I didn't see it, so I do apologize if you have. But I haven't seen anything in regards to the Sesko deal, so nothing has been official yet. But yes, there are talks that the Sesko deal is off, and he's going to be going to Newcastle. That's what he's preferring. I made a joke that Sesko just kept saying that he wanted United, but he wasn't clear on which United. But we know he wanted Manchester United. But I think now with the favorites, and now with the fact that Newcastle can potentially get the money, especially if they get what they want for Isak, which apparently is looking towards 150. And if you sell what you can, or if you sell 150 and you just spend half of it on Sesko, yeah, that's great to say the least. That's what you want. But yeah, losing out on another striker, which has been a hot topic. And I know a lot of fans want a new striker. I know there's talks with Ruben wanting a new striker, but losing out on another striker target does suck. Obviously losing Delap, Osimhen costing too much, Gyökeres just wanting Arsenal. I don't know why they're not going for Mwani. He's a potential target. Mata from Crystal Palace, looks like they didn't end up going for him. And then Benjamin Sesko came up. That's looking like not an option. Nicholas Jackson, same thing. So, yeah, the striker situation is definitely not looking good. If they lose out on Sesko, it's hard to say what they're going to do, but saving money is key. In my opinion, saving money is key. If they don't get Sesko, great. You can go for who I was just talking about. If they can, but the question is now, is this a similar situation? High value, like, are we going to get him? Are we going to be desperate for a striker? But that's the thing, right? That's one thing with the striker situation. I know fans are not confident in Hojlund or Zirkzee. I know you have Cunha, who can sometimes play at the 9. There's options there, but Sesko looks like what's the top target, but it's tough again for this fan base if they lose out on another striker. I know I start off with the segment Sesko, and then I know I was going to talk a little bit about Hojlund's confidence. You know what? Let's just move on from this segment. I'm going to skip the Bruno Sadi second. I'm going to get to that after I talk the confidence of Hojlund. But let's look at the next segment here, because again, they are linked, because again, Sesko was there. Let's talk about Hojlund. I'm actually going to bring in Zirkzee as well into this conversation, the confidence, but let's breathe into the next segment. Okay. So segment number 2 obviously was supposed to be Bruno. I'm going to bring that in after I'm finished with this segment here. Yes, confidence in Hojlund, and I'm going to throw in Zirkzee too. Yes, we can talk about last season all we want, but let's get into there isn't much confidence. People haven't expressed much confidence in Hojlund. And you know what? Now people are expressing much confidence in Zirkzee, because again, the way Zirkzee is, they talk to him about being a 9.5. He can play multiple positions. He can play the 9, and he can also play in the 10, which is good, especially for hold up play. Obviously, last season for Hojlund, you can say, was a natural disaster. That's the best way. But again, please note that as much as it was a natural, it sucked for him. It did. But guess what? It sucked for all of Manchester United last year. Yes, there were some bright spots. Yes, but let's remember this. And you saw him playing in the last 2 preseason games. Yes, and then please remember, I've mentioned this before. I know it's only preseason, but there is a change in Hojlund that you've seen, and it's a good change. You see him getting up there. You see him making the moves, and like him carrying the ball. But in this situation here, he was mentioned in a potential swap for Sesko, plus some fees with Manchester United. So, and I know there's talks that Leipzig want him, that it was a dream move. I don't know if that's true. That's what's being reported. You're seeing it there, and Leipzig does want Hojlund, but the confidence in Hojlund, I think you have to see it. You saw something different. Listen, I do want to keep Hojlund. I do. If we have to sell him, we sell him if he doesn't want to be here, but I know he wants to stay. You've seen the comments of Zirkzee and Hojlund saying about the other striker. They're willing to battle it out. They're willing to fight for their spot, which is great. And I hope the combination of Hojlund, Zirkzee, Cheeto, all fighting against each other and working with each other. When I say fighting, like fighting for the spot, working together, being teammates, encouraging, getting everything right. I hope that works out for them as well, because that is a great motivator to help get things going. Listen, though, yes, not much because of the way things are. And I know when we brought in Hojlund, and this is not his fault. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not Ten Hag's fault either. The way the recruiting team was and the way they negotiated those prices for Hojlund, yeah, everyone's going to throw it in there. And I know a lot of people hyped him up coming in from Atalanta and the talent and what could potentially be. Yes, you saw that in the first season. You saw a down year. Let's not hide that. Again, like I mentioned before, it was a national disaster, but it's not just Hojlund. It was the whole team. You saw issues with Rashford. You saw issues with the transition from Ten Hag to Ruben Amorim. Please remember, though, like the way he was in the Prem is one thing. He did score, 6 goals in Europe? Like in Europe, in European competitions. What was it? He has 11 goals in the European competitions with Manchester United, 5 in Champions League, 6 with Manchester United. There's potential there if he did go off well, he will win potentially get the golden boot for Europa, like top scorer for Europa. But like he can score. It's just, I know Europe versus Premier League is different. He scored 10 goals in his first Prem. He only scored 4 last year. And again, there's opportunity. We know what's there. And I think him having this offseason, training with Ruben, and I know Ruben mentioned that he likes what Hojlund's been doing. Some people are reading that as, Ruben's going to get rid of him because of that comment. But listen, he has to grow his confidence. We also have to back. If we don't get a striker, if we got a striker and Hojlund was still there, you still have to support. I'm still supporting him no matter what. I'll still be supporting him if we don't get a striker, and he is he is our starting 9. But we have to start building things up. He has a connection with Dorgu through the Denmark national team. He has a connection with Bruno. And I mentioned this in other episodes, with Brian Mbeumo and Cunha. Yes, they bring goals, but they also bring assists. They also bring experience in the Prem. So when they're working with players, like let's say Cunha or Hojlund, like when they're working with like someone like Hojlund, they can tell him where they need him to be when we're moving up in this way, this way, and this way. And that's a good thing to have. Like last week, the Bournemouth game on Wednesday, you saw the same Hojlund, like you saw a consistent Hojlund from the first game to there, and we were all happy that he got his goal. But you saw the pressure, you saw the movement. But again, everyone's like, "Oh, he went quiet." Let's be real here. Like when you're moving or when you have things going the way they were, sometimes it's hard to get those targets to move into your striker. Sometimes when you get the ball position, your striker just can't. You have to put it in a place where you can get it to your striker. Sometimes when in transition, like he did his control, he was able to pass the ball back. But when we're in the box, transition and movement, you have to look at your wing backs. You got to look at your 10s. Like there were no options there to try and get someone there. So sometimes the shots were there. Sometimes you had to kick it in there. You saw some kicks from Delo. You saw some kicks from Euro into the box. Same with Casemiro. But you have to do whatever it takes to try and get your striker an opportunity to score. You saw against West Ham. You saw the shots. You saw him almost getting back to what we saw in that first year. So my confidence is there. He's improving. And like I mentioned in other episodes, and I mentioned it on X too, like showing my confidence towards Hojlund. Let him have a full preseason with the system. Let him develop. Let him play. Let him get familiar with. When he's with Mbeumo and Cunha, they will tell him where he needs to be when they make the passes, the shots. Bruno has confidence in Hojlund. You saw the plays that Bruno made with Hojlund last year. There was the one free kick. It was one of the games in the early stages of Europa. Just a nice down low pass. Hojlund one-timed it and scored. It was a nice play. It fed, and you saw what they could do. So, but yeah, my confidence, yes, the confidence is growing. Like from what I've seen, yes, I know it's preseason, but you can see the growth. I'm not going to overhype like many other people were, but you can see the growth. And with Zirkzee, you saw what he could do. And I know I just did this segment. I tried to make it short. But with Zirkzee, I know at the end of season, we haven't seen him this preseason, but the end of from ever since he got booed off to since then, his ball movement, his hold up play, you see what he can do. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, and hopefully I see him this against Everton on Sunday. Definitely Fiorentina. But with what we have here, it's looking great to, have confidence in these players to see what they can do. Let's not write them off yet. You got to remember, Zirkzee, first year in the Prem, he had to learn how to transition. The physicality, the body movement, you saw what he could do. Hojlund, down, first year, promising. Second year, down year, transition. Not everything was working out, trying to get goals or any assistance. We saw that. We saw the struggles. But I think with everything this year, I think the transition, learning from Ruben as well, telling him where he needs to be, communication with Bruno and Buemo, and as well as Cunha, that's going to be huge for him as well. So I think the sky's the limit for Hojlund, and as well as Cunha and Zirkzee. Cheeto as well. Cheeto's going to learn too, because he's going to be playing with players that have the experience, especially with those two guys that I mentioned as well. But yes, confidence with Hojlund developing, it's got to get there. But everything is looking up. I would like to, he's the one player I said I would watch this off season or this preseason, because the growth has to be there. It does. So still keep an eye on him for this preseason. The growth, it was happening. We saw the goals, the improvements, but it's going to take time. Again, the goal is to work towards the start of the preseason. Anything can go with that as well. But onwards to my next segment, where some big news have come in, whether it's true or not, but some stories have come out in the last couple hours involving Bruno. Okay, so I'm just getting everything up here. So in the last few hours, I should say, fan channels and news outlets have reported that Saudi is backing for Bruno Fernandes, Al Nassr, who Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. So actually, Al Hilal. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, Ronaldo eyes Bruno Fernandes in a massive Al Nassr transfer. So I know at the beginning there is a bid for him earlier on, especially near the end of the season going into the Europa League final. I'm just pulling up an article from MSN. Al Nassr plot to move Bruno Fernandes just weeks after hiring Manchester United's captain's former boss. So the new manager at Al Nassr is Jorge Jesus. Used to coach Bruno at Sporting. So a lot of people are going there. But let me just see here. Manchester United Maestro was subject to a stunning £200 million proposal from Al Hilal earlier this summer. That wasn't correct. But Fernandes ultimately turned it down to lucrative offer to wish of the Red Devils boss, Ruben Amorim, with the midfielder keen to prolong his career in Europe. But according to Portuguese publications, Abola, Cristiano Ronaldo, Al Nassr are now considering a bid for Fernandes. It is thought that the club's new coach, Jorge Jesus, who gave Fernandes his Sporting Lisbon debut in 2017, wants to make him the latest Portuguese star to embark the Saudi switch. He would obviously join Ronaldo, João Felix, who just joined in the last couple of weeks. But the potential for the bid is there. There's talks of 150 million potentially bid. The $200 million bid did not happen with Al Hilal. If that actually had happened, the $200 million bid, or the £200 million bid, I think we wouldn't be talking about Bruno here with Manchester. I know his salary was supposed to be high, but I didn't see that transfer window there. But yes, Al Nazir is looking at going. There are reports that he's already rejected. He has already rejected the proposal of going. But you never know. Now, the question is, and I'm sure everyone is wondering, what should we sell? Should we go? I'm sure the debate's going to be there for the next little bit. But with Bruno, and I do apologize for the chimes coming in the back. Yeah, the clock is just chiming at midnight here. Unfortunately, that clock is a few minutes behind. So, yes, I do apologize for the chimes kicking in. But going back, yes, Fernandes turned down it from Al Hilal, offered a contract worth 200. Sorry, there we go. The contract worth 200 million, not the transfer bid. The transfer bid was about 100 million pounds, I believe, allegedly. But yes, Al Hilal did go for João Felix. They're going to try and push, and Cristiano Ronaldo apparently is going to try and push for Bruno to come. And again, the question is, like I just said about a minute or two ago, the debate is going to be up selling Bruno, or will it be a mistake? Because again, money can bring in, you can make the players that you want, you can get certain players, help build the roster, get the players that you want. But if Bruno doesn't want to go, and if Ruben doesn't want him to go, then we have to see what could happen. So it's gonna, yes, the debate's gonna be there again. But yes, Saudi is back for Bruno. Do I want to see Bruno go? No. But from what I'm already hearing, Al Nassr has inquired and tried to make an offer, but Bruno apparently has already rejected the offer to go there. So Al Hilal originally offered 100 million. So my apologies for earlier with that correction from seeing what from MSN. They must have been talking about the salary, because I don't remember the $200 million transfer option, but the transfer fee, I did remember that. Like I said, 200 million could have been there, so just a little correction there. But in the end, do you make a choice? No. It's not my choice. It's up to Bruno, and it's up to the manager, it's up to the club. But what if Ineos gets the offer that they've dreamed of, and that's what gets them to move? So you don't know. But from what I'm hearing here and rumors, he's already rejected the Saudi deal. So Bruno is still staying with Manchester United for the year. But yeah, that's one thing I kind of want to discuss. But we still have more things to talk about with today's episode. So let's move on to the transfer. Our group that is still there, a group of people that have been looking to sell. So let's talk about Sancho, Antony, and Garnacho news. Okay. Yes, Sancho, Antony, Garnacho. Yes, I have mentioned them in many episodes before. Borussia Dortmund, I believe I mentioned this may have been last episode or the episode before. But Dortmund is back in the mix. There is talks that Sancho is willing to take a massive pay cut, enough for him to be kept to Borussia Dortmund. There's talks that apparently he'll go down to $150,000 a week, or £150,000 a week, for the club, just to get him moving. We'll see how that progresses. I know United have reduced the transfer fee. I think it's between 15 to 20 million, 20 million pounds for the transfer fee. So we'll see if we have teams biting on that, and if he's taking, if he's taking a pay cut. My apologies for that stutter. If he's taking that pay cut, then that does help. But the question is, does Borussia Dortmund want to pay that? And Will he do a pay cut for any other clubs like Juventus, who he has been tagged to this whole summer? Who knows? Garnacho in the talks with Chelsea. He wants to go to Chelsea. Would you make that play? Would you make the move to Chelsea? In the end, he's going to try and hold out. United are not going to drop anything for their bid. I know they're evaluating him at 30 to 35 million. Chelsea, we value him a little bit higher, about 45 to 50 million. Especially with the way things have been going. They sold João Felix for 45 million to Saudi. They've like Elenga has gone to places for 55. So like 45 to 50 million should seem reasonable for Garnacho. So we'll see. I know we're coming close to the window. I think we got 4 weeks left, to say the least, for the transfer window. So we can't budge from our valuation, and I know some teams are going to be want us to budge to lower it. So, but I don't think we're going to budge on that. And I know the attitude has apparently come up, but Chelsea said they're willing to accept the attitude, but they're willing to accept it at 30 to 35 million, not at the proper valuation. So I'm wondering if the reason why they're not given the proper valuation is because maybe they do find the value, maybe they do find the attitude matching, but they're just willing to pay that lower amount because extra 15 million for less trouble. That could be, we'll see. I know he wants it. I know there's rumors of Twitter posts of mentioning him going to Chelsea, but we don't know. In the end, we don't know. We don't know how things are going to hold out. But Sancho, Garnacho, Antony, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, and Malacia will not be practicing with the first team. They will be practicing after the first team has been done. There's a rumor of them being sent to the under 21. My God, that was a struggle. The under 21 squad locker room, but apparently that's been set back or whatever, and they're just going to train in separate times and won't be training with the main team. Now going to Antony, out of all of them who did very well on his loan to Real Betis, there has been a rumor that some players in the locker room think that Antony is a fit. Obviously, things didn't work out for Antony last year. Obviously, with things just didn't work out well with him and Ruben in the system. There wasn't any question about his work ethic, but he needs to, there's talks where some players may want him back, or would you take him back? Would you bring back Antony if you know that he could play wing back, be a backup to Diallo, or he probably wants to go and start. He wants to go to Real Betis. There's a rumor there that the reason why Betis hasn't made a move for a sale is because they're trying to reach for a loan. That's what it is. They're hoping that United in desperation will say, hey, we need a loan. United need to sell. And Betis knows that. Betis wants him, but here's the thing. If Betis really wanted him, they would have already bought him already. They would have. They don't. They as much as they want him, they don't want to pay his salary. They don't want to pay that transfer. They get him for another year. That probably reduces his valuation, and then you go for a cheaper next year. No, they're trying to play the long game. United not going to have it. They're going to be looking for a sale. But yeah, I was shocked to see some reports about insiders with the players and Antony, and there's talks about even the fans. Antony has work ethic, but I think everything in the system just doesn't. I think just being in the Prem, his talent is there, but just being in the Prem is a little different from other leagues. And in the La Liga, it fits him very well, and he's done very well in La Liga when he played for Real Betis. So Will they bring him back? Probably not. But like the idea is the chats and the idea of bringing him back is speculating. We know Man United will not. We know Ruben won't. But the rumors and the chatting and everything, it's all there. They're speculation. There's going to be people chatting about let's do this and this. It's it's just fans talking. But yeah, nothing has changed with those four. Nobody has moved. Like nobody's gone anywhere. No sales. We got 4 weeks to sell them. Nobody is there. So it's the same old story, week in and week out. But yeah, that's how the cookie crumbled, everyone. Nothing has changed with those four. So yes, Rashford is in Barca, but Antony, Garnacho, Malacia, Sancho are all still here. So all we can do is wait and be patient. But all right, on to our final segment. Okay, moving into the final segment of the podcast, talking about the goalkeeper situation. Yes, goalkeeper is one of the targets this summer. Manchester United are looking at for our PSG goalkeeper Donnarumma in a potential purchase. Obviously, PSG having a fantastic season last year, winning the treble for them, as well as going to the World Cup final. They got dominated, but an incredible season nonetheless. But there's chances are that United are going to make a play for him, be a potential someone to face battle out with Onana, if not replace him. There's talks there that if they go for him, Onana could potentially be on his way out. There's been rumors of him going to Saudi. I think there's another European club looking for him as well. The only thing is transfer, sales, the salary. But yes, United are moving in for one more goalkeeper, to say the least. So question is, does United make the move? Can United afford the salary? I know there's talks of his salary, rumoring around 15 million for the year. That's what he wants. We're already paying Onana up to about 200,000 a week. The 15 million will be more than that per week. So that's a lot of money. And we're trying to reduce salaries, and we're not paying stupid amounts. That's why United should not go for Isak. But yeah, the money is always an issue, but we'll see. I know the signing, or I know he wants a new contract update with PSG, and I know he's mentioned his salary demands. I know he's currently making around, I think I saw £203,000 a week already. We do need an upgrade, or at least someone that can help with Onana. If Onana can't start, it's more of but who knows? But yes, a new keeper is the target. The question is, what's the cost and how much are we willing to get him on term? So again, we don't want to be overpaying. That's the concern. We don't want to be overpaying. So yeah. That's it for today's episode of the pod. I'm going to leave it there. It's up to you now of what you think we should do for the goalkeeper. But listen, I'll be back. It's kind of just finishing off. It's a little early Saturday morning. So I will be finishing off. I shouldn't be finishing off. I will be back later today recording a new episode, preview for the Everton match. So keep an eye out on that. But yeah, we're getting closer. 2 weeks now away from the Premier League kickoff against Arsenal. But yes, keep an eye out for the new episode later on. Keep an eye out for this episode, which should be released momentarily. But yeah, we still more stuff to go on this weekend. Again, episode later today, episode on Sunday after the Everton match too. But yeah, I hope everyone does enjoy their weekend, depending on where you are. Some may have a long weekend as well. So I will be enjoying my long weekend. But yes, Manchester United has a lot of stuff going on for Man United in this episode. But I hope everyone enjoys their weekend, enjoys the remainder of their Friday, depending on where they are in the world as well. But yes, tune in for the next episode, preview Everton. Have yourself a great night. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.